So you are now teaching coding to a very small child, teaching them to drag and drop, but you're not telling them the back end of it, the logic behind it. You don't need to teach such a small child so many things. I'm that person, that mom who has bought toys for my daughter only because I wanted to play with them. Started conducting some workshops, creative writing workshops for children, and they published a book of stories without writing a single word in class. So children learn more from the ambience than they learn from what you're telling them. हमारे टाइम में तो इनफैक्ट वो चैप्टर्स स्किप हो जाते थे. They were there in your textbooks, but the teachers would skip them.
At Unbound, it's our continuous endeavor to bring voices from different spaces, from different walks of life, be it change makers, thought leaders, inventors. And today, yet again, we are here with a new episode, with a new voice and a new face. Ritika Amit Kumar, a startup founder, STEM Metaverse. She's a mompreneur and a force to reckon with, changing so much at the level of entrepreneurship and motherhood and parenthood too. Hi Ritika, welcome to the show Unbound.
Thank you, Mamta. Thank you for having me on this show.
But awesome to have you on this summery afternoon. And
Thank
just
you.
to kick off the conversation, how are you solving it with your startup, with your idea? And as a mother, what's your viewpoint?
So this entire startup was born because I wasn't too challenged in school. I mean, that's what I felt, that school, I could have done so much more. And in our times, I think options were very limited. Now, I think a lot of options have opened up for children. And, I always wanted a space where I could just create things. And I was the kind who would want to open things up and, make something new out of it and learn new technologies, always at the forefront of learning new technology. And that, unfortunately, in those times wasn't happening as much. So with STEM Metaverse, we saw a lot of schools had adopted a lot of new things. But you know what was lacking in most of these endeavors was that, that mindset changed, working on the child's mind,
Right.
as an integral part of whatever you were doing was missing. So you are now teaching coding to a very small child, teaching them to drag and drop, but you're not telling them the back end of it, the logic behind it. Why are you doing something? You don't need to teach such a small child so many things, but can you at a physical level break things down and introduce that logical problem solving mindset in different ways, and then at the right age introduce him to different technologies or her to different ways to solve those problems. But the idea is to understand a problem, to actually think through it, to break it down into steps, plan. Those are things that are more critical to, I think, learn as a child.
I want to take a peek into your start, your beginning. You are not a tech person.
I'm not a
And
tech
you started
person.
an ed tech company.
Yeah, because intrinsically, if you think about it, if engineers with an engineering background can take up 1,000 other professions, there is really no reason for an inquisitive person who has a logical mindset to not venture into different engineering or STEM oriented roles.
Very nice.
So this is where it is. Ultimately, what is happening is, even when we are teaching children STEM, we're not expecting them to suddenly become rocket scientists and launch themselves into space. We're expecting them to sort of understand, comprehend, break things into different categories, and then solve different kinds of problems that they might encounter irrespective of whatever career path they choose later on. Right? So with me, what happened was that I was trained formally to become a journalist. And when you become a journalist, the thing is that you learn how to ask questions. How do you synthesize lots of information and break it down and analyze it and quickly create those 10 questions that will get you the right answers.
How, when, where, what, why.
Yeah, whatever. With that background, I'd started a newspaper for children. And when I did that, I think I realized that I was into STEM education. When I interacted with children, it was so interactive because as part of those we used to conduct workshops to understand what children were thinking. And many a times I would just run experiments or STEM classes with them. And when my daughter was really small, I realized that I was very fond of opening up her toys and repairing
You
them.
yourself.
And that mom who buys toys who has bought toys for my daughter only because I wanted to play with them.
Wow.
So, and so basically that made me realize that this is so much fun.
No, it's very, very interesting where you're leading this conversation to, because as humans, or even let me say as adults,
Yeah.
we don't allow ourselves. We are like, okay, this is who we have become. This is what our training is. This is what I've achieved academically, or at a corporate ladder, and this is where it stops. So undoing or sort of unlearning or dropping that for yourself कि यार इसी जजमेंट से मैं अपने आप को नहीं इवैल्यूएट करूंगी.
ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है.
How did you come to that understanding कि यार there is more to me?
Basically, my elder brother, my father always expected that this was the line for us because we would both take up STEM roles. But life for my brother was not easy. I mean, he was under too much pressure, and I, being the father's favorite, daddy's girl, I didn't want my father to, start, I didn't, that pressure was intrinsic for me. So I thought I'd not take up engineering at all. And I decided to not take it up. And my father, realizing that, he had put in a lot of pressure on my older brother, decided to give in to me and said that ठीक है तुम करो तुम्हें जो करना है. But for me, I was more into education, and when this happened, I just followed the path. And I realized that for me is I want to build an army of creators. I want to give children a platform to showcase their work where they are incentivized and they can earn scholarships. So if you go to the STEM Metaverse platform, children can upload their work and earn scholarships, and also upskill themselves. At a slide, you can get those 10-20% scholarships even for your regular courses like whatever summer camps or any hobby that you might want to pursue. The website is called nft.stemmetaverse.in. The idea is to have a track record of all your child's work on a blockchain, right? So that when you require it, when you're building your child's profile for college admissions or for anything else later on, you have an entire ledger of work that you can show, as proof and, time-stamped on the block, verifiable by anybody. So, what happens here is that a lot of times our children create so much which we just throw away.
So every workshop that they are attending, everything that they are building there, and independently also whatever you're giving them to do either at home or they're doing it out of their own interest.
Exactly. They can put it out. And even whatever they're doing in school as part of some assignment, everything can be put out there.
Oh, excellent.
So the idea is that when you're looking, 10 years later, you have that repository of work, that story will itself be very visible and evident. And, this will set you apart from anybody who does this kind of work only in 2 months, because I've seen a lot of people spend so much on, college counselors and the kind of profile building, some exorbitant sums are spent on all of that, because people start acting only at the last minute.
Much later.
But, if you just keep a ledger and a record of their work, there is so much that you can do, and this is where it is.
Excellent. So building this completely ground up, you started with the newsletter, and how did you pivot into STEM from there?
So basically, like I said, we wanted to, just engage with children as part of understanding the content for the newspaper better. So we started conducting some workshops, creative writing workshops for children, and they published a book of stories without writing a single word in class.
Wow.
Links to their work, and you'll find one of the books was appreciated by Ruskin Bond.
Oh, wow.
And this was a book called Realms, Dimensions, Realities, and born only out of experiments done in the class. Not a single word written in class, but I would always have one-on-one sessions with them after the class got over. Many of them were also online because, children would type out their drafts after that. But the class, that 2-hour class would not have a single word written. It would only have maybe some, mind maps and those
Yeah.
kind of things done. We would also play, chess and understand strategy and then explain how that strategy could sort of work in a story format. So when, you conducted these experiments, I remember the first time I got something called an Ozo bot, which is a
Okay.
small bot that
Yeah.
I got. It was a line following bot back 9 years back.
Right.
And children realize that, you can actually physically code things as well. It doesn't need to be just something lines of code that you write down. How do you create strategies to get something to move from here to there? Measuring, angles, all that came into play. And when they understood those things, they realized that can those same strategies of angle, positioning,
Measures. Yeah.
lend to language? And that as an understanding, it was very interesting to come about. One of the experiments we had was on light, right? Where children understood that and they figured out that only a certain spectrum of light is visible to our eyes, right? Then
Correct.
X-rays and infrared rays. And then we deep dived into what are X-rays and we ran some experiments into infrared rays and heat and all of that. Ran lens experiments. After that, they went back home. One of the children wrote a story on how a very crazy, elderly astronaut landed up on Mars, did not find anything there till he came across a different kind of lens through which he could actually see something greenish, and then that somehow emerged and formed a very abstract figure which was an alien. So that entire story is about this wonky Dr. Lupin, I think, if I remember correctly, who basically identified that there was life on Mars, except that we couldn't see it and it was in the strangest form, whatever. There were several of these kind of conversations happening even then amongst children who were of that age.
Wow.
So, and each of them is very logical.
Yeah.
I think we've all realized this, that everybody said that education now will be online and all of that. Frankly, children are most of them are creatures of habit.
Yeah.
They love being in places that they know of, that they feel safe in, and repetition makes them feel a lot safer.
Yeah.
So when you take them in an online environment where they're meeting people they don't know, their understanding, their comprehension levels take a considerable backseat.
Yeah. And I think there is definitely a part of experiential and immersion, right? Like all our senses can just not be engaged online. They will be a part of distraction which your current environment is throwing at you, because
Absolutely.
you can't disconnect. Even if you put a AR VR set, you can't disconnect from the tingling sensation that you might end up getting because an AC is working, not working, or a mosquito has just bitten you, or whatever it is,
So children learn more from the ambience.
Ambience, yeah, totally.
Right, through observation and ambience,
Totally.
than they learn from what you're telling them.
Yeah.
So, which is why, and it's very important for them to listen not just from their ears but also from their eyes and their skin and their nose, because all their input mechanisms are on hyper alert most of the time.
Correct.
So, yeah.
But what I definitely see in that case, maybe some part of your challenge is also to make parents listen immersively, because till the time we as adults or parents are not doing that, how are we even going to make a child understand that why do you need to be fully attentive, or come on, let's get into this physically and do this together?
That's true.
Okay.
So, the biggest challenge that we as a generation of parents face is that we were not parented in the same fashion as we are trying to parent our children. But I'll tell you one thing that was very interesting about what our parents did was all the parents behaved in the same fashion.
Yeah.
Right? They were consistent. You knew their behavior was consistent. You knew
then your
that-
father will also give you a slap if you don't end up
Right,
in
exactly.
this or that.
So if you knew that if you messed up in any way, you knew the reaction you would get.
Yes.
Today as parents, what we've done is that we're still trying to figure out our way, right?
Yeah.
So there is no consistency. You would have different children coming with different parenting, all in the same room, and it's interesting. But we're still, I think we are somewhere now realizing that gentle parenting doesn't mean that you need to be nice to the child all the time and let them have their way. I think it's been a good decade of gentle parenting, after which we've come to a space where we've realized this. The other thing is, I think we now need to also let them be, because we've started helicoptering them too much. We've started giving them too many instructions in a very indirect way.
Yeah.
Right?
Summers are around and so are vacations. What is your thing about keeping them busy? How do you keep them constructive, busy, yet learning, yet entertained?
I don't have I want to understand this, that why is it so important to keep a child busy?
I think because we want certain level of freedom.
We want certain level of freedom. You know why? Because I think it's important for a child to get bored. Also to understand that how can they keep themselves engaged. So what has happened is that, we've completely removed that layer of being responsible for one's own entertainment and engagement, and we have completely given that off to other people.
Yeah, we really want to outsource that part,
Right. So the child has stopped thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
In fact, it's very interesting because children don't even know that they can literally kill time by just dribbling, and dribbling enhances focus. So it's important that a child just wastes, at least some time in a day.
I have this ongoing dilemma, right? Both my sons, they love to play with their toy figures. And they can play endlessly, Ritika, like endlessly. And they would say it in the name of free play. Like I would ask them, अच्छा इतने से इतने बजे क्या किया? या okay, what were you doing inside the room? इतनी देर से आप थे. How much of it?
time करना तो ज़रूरी है. It's important to time.
I mean, my concern will be, are they actually sitting on screen or whatever? Which they are not. But somehow they're not even interested in too much of constructive work, and then they would come back and say that, who said it's not fun? And I'll be like, doing it again, all over again? How many times will you play with this same
stop to it also. I'm not saying that it needs to be endless, but what I'm also trying to say is that don't burden them with too much. So what is happening is that I've come across children who get up at like 7 o'clock in the morning on a summer vacation day and go for swimming class in the morning, then they go for tennis after that, then they do some STEM or something. But what I'm basically trying to say is, if you're going for football, just play football for the heck of it. There needn't be a class for football. If you feel that you want to learn, right, and get better at it, then of course take a class.
तो क्या आप आना चाहेंगे अनबाउंड विद ममता पे अनबाउंडिंग के लिए मेरे साथ? कोई स्टोरी, कोई आइडिया, कोई थॉट है आपके पास जो आप चाहते हैं कि दुनिया सुने? तो मुझे लिखिए unboundwithmamta@gmail.com. That is unboundwithmamta@gmail.com. या सिंपली हमारे किसी भी इंस्टाग्राम पोस्ट को या यूट्यूब के एपिसोड को लाइक, शेयर या अपने कमेंट्स भेजिए.
So when they're doing free play, I'm not saying that give them a kit. Don't do that, please. I mean, I'm really happy to see that that they're using their figurines and different, and they create
their
stories.
own stories around it, and
So
they're
that's
all
also
the time
learning.
pretty occupied, and I'll be like, okay,
So
not that
get
I
them to
mind.
document it, because some of them might actually be nice. So that documentation will also be a step ahead, right?
So as a parent, again coming back to it, and both from the point of view of entrepreneurship and parenthood, at what point would you really say कि यार the बच्चा can just take the leap of faith, or you can just take a leap of faith in life, कि यार इसमें ना एक academic approach की ज़रूरत नहीं है या consistency की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Now I have a dream to do something else and I can drop all my training and everything, and now I can, even in your own case for that matter, when you decided to take that jump totally like a free fall, how supportive is your environment? And where is the parents' role?
I had good enough degrees to support everything.
Totally.
I could take that risk because I had a sound background that I could get back to at any point of time in life.
So that is a must.
That is a must. There is no denying that. That is definitely a must. And the second thing was that I also had some amount in savings to actually cater. That one can't be completely, when you're shooting off, like I said, channelize that energy and then shoot it off, right? even the language that they
Yeah.
understand today is very different.
Yeah.
You know, so that needs to be correct. And I think as parents, we're so still finding our path. So it's very difficult.
And there's no one right way to it.
There's no one right way to it.
Yeah.
But I think what can happen is that I think we need to set out some collective, you know, in the household responsibilities, some accountability sections,
Ground
and
rules. Yeah.
and also have the father be a part of
Part
it.
of it.
Where there are responsibilities given to him blatantly
Yeah.
that need to be executed by them.
Right.
What has happened is that as we have turned more emancipated and smart and we become so efficient, you know, everything has fallen on us.
Yes.
All responsibilities, accountability related to every family member and what they are achieving even outside the house, including what we are trying to achieve outside the house, has become our responsibility now.
Correct. And do you think this also comes in the way of how women lead organizations, startups, ventures? Do these conversations also come as a part of?
Yeah, because we have become micromanagers, which is why we are unbearable. So you know, because this is how we've been nurtured, and I think that delegation needs to start. It needs to start at home. And every member of the family, including the children, need to be a part of it as they keep growing up.
Correct.
So that they see and they can become active citizens of society. And this needs to actively happen at the workplace as well, where if you have a team and you have peers and even your seniors and superiors, work needs to be delegated up, down, laterally,
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes, totally. I mean, in households, in
Right.
workplaces, everywhere, because it's a burden, it's a load, and it needs division.
Every day.
How do you let that parent take over a mother? Let's say this.
So basically, I think this is a constant battle. There are days when we are more invested as parents, and then there are days when your work requires you a little more, right? So every day you can't be the same person. And I've realized this, and you need to be okay with it. Have you seen, and I'm not saying that men are the best examples to look at, but you know, have you seen how they completely disengage when it's not, when they're stressed in one aspect of life? They would completely, if work is being stressful, they would not bother about the house at all. And when the family needs them, then they're invested in that, and then they will give their work also this thing. They compartmentalize very, very well. And that's because they've got us. The point is that we need to, you know, one bigger aspect of parenting also is to train that one person who's all fully grown
Who's
up.
been biggled all of his life and
Yeah,
never
as parents,
Yeah.
you know, our parents did not do a
do
great
a good
job when it came to
that. I think women need what? I mean, they say you need a village to raise a child.
Yeah,
Women
right.
need a structure, they need a process, they need a backup, they need a support system.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what it's is that
Yeah,
what you
that's
will
true.
call
Absolutely.
it? Yeah.
It is a support system. So today my in-laws live with me. We've had a very nurturing relationship. I gave up and took a, you know, sort of not a complete sabbatical, but I took some sort of a sabbatical for good 3-4 years, and while work was at an all-time low, and I've done that. I set the space for everybody to be absolutely comfortable, giving as much as, you know, taking. And why should one feel so sad about, you know, taking advantage or favors from a situation, right? Because you've been there for them.
For
And if
them.
they are there for you,
Yeah.
then there is no reason for you to bear the guilt.
Also,
for it.
that belief that if time demands so, or situations will call for so, you'll still be there. It's not that
Right.
you'll run away. To have that
Yeah.
belief in yourself as well.
Yeah.
That I'll be there when they need me, so they are here
Yeah.
when I need them.
And you don't need to have this conversation happening
Every
on a
day,
day-to-day basis.
every day,
Exactly.
totally,
कि आज
totally.
मैं नहीं थी, सुबह थी, नहीं थी, शाम को नहीं थी, so I need to feel bad about it.
Totally.
Yeah, you can have spurts of everything. Like you
Correct.
gave everything up for your family.
Correct.
Now you can
The
give
family could
everything
do
to
it
your-
the other way
the other way
round.
as well.
Yeah.
Right. So there is otherwise no point of raising these independent and building this sort of a support and structure.
Correct. But I think our guilt again shrivels us and, you know, makes us so low that sometimes we are too busy just analyzing, judging, evaluating, and answering ourselves more than
nobody
justifying it to
expects-
anyone else. I think it's only your own thing that you're like,
It's your own parents. I mean, it's not even in-laws. It's your
Correct,
parents,
correct.
right? And now I think we're at a stage where my in-laws and my parents are at the same stage because
Yeah.
we've spent
Yeah.
like a lot of time
Yeah.
together. So up to in fact, so it's other
it's
women
like, सुनो
also.
सबकी करो करना तो अपने मन की
You can't change
पड़ेगा.
their
You can't.
mindsets.
Yeah.
But you also need to understand what kind of and have faith in the structure that you've built and build that structure.
Build that structure. Totally. So don't clip those ambitions. Go soar high. Take the flight of faith, that leap that you need to take. Just have your structure in place and belief in yourself.
Right.
So it's been a absolutely great conversation. Is there anything specific you want to talk about? The upcoming classes, the sessions that you guys have designed, how you're doing it differently this time? What is that one could look out for? And is there anything for parents also this summer?
I would love to do something for parents.
Yeah.
Possibly by the end of the vacation. But so what we've done this time is it's a 4-week camp. You get to explore 4 different things. One is aero modeling. The other one is the physics of light, where you can experience a little bit of photography, develop photographs, see how older cameras worked, how did that evolution of cameras happen through physics. It's not basically a photography or a composition or an art oriented workshop. It's more of a physics workshop on how light enters the earth from the sun. So you view the sun in a certain way, then you understand light, then you understand how people decided that they could capture it through cameras.
Yeah.
That entire evolution of the process, and then how did it result in this?
Obviously.
Yeah, and then you create a laser light show, those kind of things. So there is 1 week of aero modeling, there's 1 week of lights camera action, as we call it. Then there is something called survival camp.
Oh.
So you learn how to build a tent. There is flameless cooking is just for fun.
Yeah.
But you learn how to build a torch. You learn how to build a burglar alarm.
Okay.
You learn how to build different things to survive.
Yeah.
Right? That's the third one. You learn how to build a solar cooker, for example. Then the fourth one is your maker space camp, where you're sort of building a lift, understanding hydraulics, those kind of things. And for the extremely young children, we have all these 4 weeks, but they're done in a very different way. So there is an age group for 3 to 5, and then 6 to 8, and 9 to 12.
All right. And if I were to take this as a prescription from, someone who is leading the space and designing so many things for children, what do you think is an ideal sweet spot? How many classes should children be doing? Yeah. How much should
Ideally
parents really
just
be
2.
pushing? And it should be done with what intent and objective, really? I mean,
one is that is it changing, or is it augmenting their thinking levels? Mind you, not just STEM, but even music and even art can augment their thinking ability in a lot of different ways. So
Yeah.
you need to see what kind of, if there is a logical bent of mind, if they're curious in nature, then this works for them. If they have a logical bent of mind, then even an instrument could work better for them. Depending on what your child is good at, take that up and take one sport.
right.
I would still say that either a sport or juggle it between a sport or something in the arts domain. If you're taking up STEM, then one other class, either a sport or a or something in the arts domain, could be music
Yeah.
or dance, and nothing more than 2 sessions if you're doing one at all completely. It's completely okay to not go in for a summer camp.
Right.
Just let your children get them to form a club in the society. It could be a club for anything. Get them to do that, because
Art
that's equally
appreciation,
important.
movie watching, whatever,
Anything,
reading,
it could be anything.
football, whatever they love
So
to
it could be like an early morning club for sports. It could be basically an evening club or something in the afternoon for, like film.
like a review,
It could be a
or
film review or
art
book review, something
appreciation.
else.
Yeah.
So it could be anything. And so that's also a very good option. And you don't need to micromanage them. Please, if you're working and if your child is even, 6 years old or above, being in another room is absolutely fine. Yeah. And and getting them to just consume this time doesn't make too much sense. If you want to, just, it's absolutely okay, let them play for 2-3 hours downstairs. Get those tracker watches if it troubles you so much.
Yeah.
That may be a better investment, for a longer time, because there is no end to it. If you live in a condo kind of a space and there is ample security around you, and even if you don't have your grandparents over, it's okay.
Yeah.
Let them be.
Send them to Nani's house.
Send them to Nani's house or Dadi's house. 2-3 weeks of that is complete therapy.
Yeah.
Everything's sorted.
Keep your nerves calm. I think this summer you need to really cool off is what's the message
Absolutely.
is. Take that much needed holiday. Take that much needed relaxation with your family. Let the kids breathe easy. I know it's easier said than done. And definitely enroll them for some of these STEM
If it
sessions.
interests you and if it interests them, then you can do that. But
Yeah.
there are a lot of other options.
As well, and to each his own. But a very quick and a basic understanding on STEM, if you could just break it down for us. And can kids really do it at home?
Yeah. So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Our entire show has, gone by. And so it stands for science, technology, engineering and mathematics. And what it essentially means is, can you find logic in everything that you do? It's basically this, that can you logically break things down? Can you, how do you process and assimilate information? This is what it is basically.
So even a baking class is a STEM, I would say. I mean,
if they're learning, if they're understanding the process behind it, not
and
just learning the
measures.
process,
Yeah.
but understanding what it does.
Yeah.
Right?
Every
then
step.
it's STEM. Yeah. Like, why do you use and what is baking soda? What is, why is it used and how does it help? How did people think about this concept of developing an oven?
Yeah.
For example. So there is STEM in everything that you do. So that is basically STEM. And when you think about it, at home, I would advise parents to not buy kits. Please, if you can buy lots of cardboard, lots of different types of, bottles, those cardboard, covers, or
Balls,
whatever.
sticks,
Balls,
any-
sticks.
Yeah.
And get them to create things.
Yeah.
So we are going to start announcing challenges also on a weekly level.
Okay.
Where, they can sort of create something on a certain theme. And it could just be a process, it could be a poem, it could be an essay, it could be a thing that you've created out of nothing at all. The idea is just to get them to be invested in thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And that's the idea essentially. Get them to read, please. It's very important. If you leave a child alone in a book with a book in hand, it's very stress free. That if they're into reading, then they're going to be engaged for 2-3 hours. So those are things. Music, listening to music, stopping and recording songs is also a talent. It enhances their memory. So just banking on Spotify. Let them learn a few songs. So music club with their friends,
Yeah.
online, offline, is a good idea. So these are some good things that they can do.
Yeah.
Open
And as
ended.
I'm understanding it more and more as we are just concluding this, is that take it easy, go back to the olden ways and the ancient wisdom. There's a lot that we used to do, you and I, we all have done, and we are a product of that. And trust us, we are not at a bad space at all.
Yeah, we're not in a bad space.
Don't doubt yourself.
Right. And I think in today's day and age, this is more important because, we're now in such uncertain times.
Correct.
That I think basic freedom is also very, very, this is like a luxury nowadays.
Yeah. Make them learn, read a map, make them visit a lot of historical places. This is what ideally vacations used to be like, right?
Yeah.
Going to museums and
Go to
planetariums
museum.
and
That's
all of that.
absolutely it.
Entertainment is inside each of this learning. So find it there and don't stress out too much. That has been an absolute great conversation, Ritika. But just before we call it a wrap, I have something up our sleeve which we call as a rapid reflex round. So here we go. Life to you is
Happiness.
never have you ever.
Lots of things. I've not bungee jumped.
One thing which is a must do for you first thing in the morning.
Making a list of things to do.
Nice. And one thing that is a must bedtime ritual kind of a thing.
Nothing.
thing.
Watching TV actually.
Oh. One thing that you hate to say to your child,
No, but I have to.
but you have to. And one thing you really wish parents never said to their children.
I think we all make mistakes. We all say a lot of things that we shouldn't have said. I don't know if we should be so hard on ourselves. Yeah, I don't have time for you. Maybe that's something that parents shouldn't make a child feel. But
But that still happens. I mean,
Still happens. Yeah.
And your favorite book or a flick, something that you like to keep going back to?
oh, there are many there. The recent one was Infidel. I like Sapiens too.
Yeah. Your guilt pleasure or
My
guilty
guilty
pleasure. Yeah.
Chocolates always.
Chocolates. A talent you're proud of.
Talent that I can sing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. One thing in life that you really, really wish to change today, now, and forever.
No, I think I'm pretty complacent and satisfied at this
Where you
stage.
are.
Yeah, I think I'm happy because I've got the chance and the opportunity to do what I want to do, which not many people get.
Yeah.
A very supportive environment, people who understand what I do. And yeah, thankfully, like I said, the education, everything has moved up to the space where I can do what I want to do,
Yeah.
which is, I think, a good space to be in.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
superb. Wishing you a very, very satisfied, happy, fulfilled, and opulent life ahead. May you keep setting the bar higher. May you keep inspiring. Of course, you have very, very, very natural, like a very polite demeanor to be going and doing and, doing things the way that you do. And that is a superpower as well. So,
Wow.
really,
I'm
I
so
mean,
happy to hear that.
really, it's been a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for sharing
you.
your joy, journey, happiness, and knowledge with us.
I think this was a pleasure interacting with you, and I'm so happy that we got this chance finally for it to happen. And I've been actually listening to some of the podcasts, so inspired by so many path-breaking journeys that have unfolded on this show.
True.
So it's amazing to be a part of it, and thank you.
Super.
Let's keep unbounding together.